Hey, I'm Andrew Wilson, GIS Core Solution Specialist at WisDOT. I see majority of the room is from WisDOT, so welcome. So first I just wanted to add a disclaimer. I do not work for Safe Software. I do have no affiliation with them whatsoever, which is who brings us FME. It's a great tool, but what's great about not working for them is I can tell you that there are little minor issues that you would find just like any time you're trying to code or do any automation. It is a great tool. It makes things a lot easier and faster. So today I'll talk about the platform, a little bit about infrastructure, the difference between FME Form and Flow, a little bit on training, how to get trained, and then we'll do some examples of workbenches within the demo or workspaces. And that's something that's kind of interesting with the platform is they have workbenches and workspaces, but they're pretty much the same thing. So that's why I said and or. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions. Okay, so what is FME? And as you see, like the number one question is what does FME stand for? Feature Manipulation Engine. It is a no-code, and I say no-code lightly because you can actually use code and put it in there. It can run a Python script. But what's great about FME is if you're not a developer, you can do automations that you've been too nervous to get into or you're like, oh, that's way too complicated. And some automations that you try to do with Python, it's going to take you hours to search or use Copilot or whatever you're using, right? With FME, it is like a model builder, like pace, you just drag and drop. So it's similar to ArcGIS Pro, but a lot more powerful. As I said, I do not work for Safe Software, and I don't work for Esri, but they are partners. So in WisDOT, we are working through a project, and that project, it was suggested to use FME. And I would say it has saved us tons and tons of time using FME versus getting a developer and having them work X amount of hours to write up code, and then you have to put it on each developer servers and things like that. It's a lot quicker. Let's see, so there's also FME Form, which is the desktop creator of the FME, and then you have the flow aspect, which is on a server, and that's where your automations are. So, and when I say automation, that's where your scheduler is, or an app, to allow you to drop and load a file, and then it will run. The form is actually where you would create it. So it's kind of like that's where your code is, but it's like I said, it's more like little boxes that are like readers, and you have your writers, and then you have what they call transformers. And we'll get to that in a moment with our demo. Oop, wrong way. So next, I just wanted to mention how WisDOT, and I do have the two people, Ben and Tony, in the room that are the ones that implemented this. You can come in, Bill. So we chose the distributed installation, but there's different ways of implementing this. You can have one server, or you can have it separated in several servers. And at WisDOT, we chose to do distributed, which is, I believe, 2 servers. We have the place where the data lives, and then we have the place where the automation would live, right? So you would have the 2. And then I just wanted to mention a little bit about licensing and how that works. And again, I don't work for Safe Software, which is kind of nice. So we just kind of learned this ourselves recently. They use what they call engines, and that's a license on your Flow server. And with that being said, if you wanted something real time or close to real time, it does utilize an engine that whole time. So you purchase a license. So currently I think we have 2 licenses per environment. We have 2 environments. We have a non-prod and then a production. And then those engines, we have 2 for each one. And say, for instance, you have an automation running on flow, and then you have another automation queued, and then you can have another one queued. Well, it's only going to use 2. And if you're utilizing 2 engines at that time, that's what's going to be taken up. Those automations in the back of the queue will wait. But with that being said, that's not something that WisDOT has had issues with. We are usually, it finishes, I would say, starts, I think we have them scheduled around 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. And they're usually done by 6 a.m., honestly. So it's something that we haven't had much issues with, but just letting you know if you're interested in the product that you have to abide by the way the licensing works. And then you also have to purchase licensing for the FME Form, which is where you create that workbench or workspace where you publish it to Flow for the automation. Now, that's a separate license. And I won't get into cost because I'm sure that everybody will have their own cost if you chose to use FME. I guess one of the questions I was going to ask is, does anybody have FME in the room besides WisDOT? You do? Okay. Okay, gotcha. So, do you like it? I mean, yeah. See, it's really good software. Like I said, it has saved so much time, I want to say, in our organization by significant hours, hundreds. Since I have the 2 famous architects and specialists in the room, do you have anything want to add to the infrastructure piece? Or no? Thank you, Tony. So Tony was saying that we chose to do the multiple servers because we will plan on most likely expanding, right? And added to the expanding, it is interesting because many people get nervous, right, with automations and coding and if you're like, oh, Python, I've never went to school for that, things like that. But this application really takes that fear, I would say, away. And we've had a lot of people come forward, and they're like, oh, I want to learn this. This sounds great. I've been wanting to do, this not really a project, but this little, I would say, mundane task that I do that takes hours. I would love to use it. So yes, soon for WisDOT at least, the expansion is current and increasing. So I kind of talked about this a little. So FME Form, and then you have your FME Flow. So you have your data translation, inspection, transformations, and kind of what does that mean? So for us, as in WisDOT, a lot of what we've been doing is moving data from like a database or an Oracle database and tying like lookup tables together with that workbench and then putting it into an enterprise geodatabase. And that's a lot of the flow of what currently we're doing. Now, with that being said, there's so many other aspects we can do, and we kind of, as WisDOT, we barely scratched the surface of the power of FME. As in, and I'm going to show a little bit of this if the demo is working correctly, you can actually have users add a file for you and have an application, which is pretty amazing. And you have this little web page that they could just add a CSV. Or you could just say, oh, I want to run something ad hoc. So you can have that going. And then you can also schedule something that runs daily or multiple times a day. Now, with FME Flow, they come together. You have your form, and then, like I said, you publish to Flow, which is where you house your scheduling, your automations, your applications. They work together. Now, like I said earlier, the licensings are technically separate. So you have your engines on Flow, and then you have licensing on Form, which is on a person's desktop, or a VM. You could add it to a VM as well. You could actually technically run the form or FME Form on your desktop without ever putting it on the Flow for the automation aspect. Now, of course, you could use like PowerShell to have something run on your local technically, but you're losing several features. Flow has a lot of information like log files and information that can help you understand if something's wrong with the automation or did it run successfully. You can add several like notifications like emails, this ran. So I'm just going to touch on this fairly quickly. What time do we have? Okay. So with training, there's tons of information out there. And that's another thing that I did like about FME, not about just training in general, but trying to answer a question while I'm using FME. I'm trying to figure out this to get this to run, right? I'm trying to get that ETL, and I know there's a tool out there maybe, so I literally go to Google and type in FME filter out something, right? Or anything like that. There's tons of information on the internet. But not just that, FME has a great training material out there. And for us, we just signed up, and then you just literally go to the website, and then, bless you, and it was free. I mean, not free, but it comes with the support, as in your when you sign up for FME. And I know I took the accelerator, I took a basic, and I can't remember the other one, but honestly, if it was so easy to pick up, and if you're interested in this, I would definitely suggest looking into it, because my past is a lot of Python programming, and to me, I was a little hesitant, honestly, because I was like, no, I learned Python, this is what I do. But honestly, this has made my life a lot easier, makes things a lot faster. So let me see if this actually works, and I'll just show you, see if I can open up a training. Yeah, so there's tons of little training, different types of training. I get a lot of questions about, what should I do? Which training should I do first? I suggest doing the accelerator and see how you feel. It didn't show. Thank you. Hold on. Ta-da! Thank you, Tony. All right, so right here, there's this page, and there's tons of different on-demand training, live training. And like I said, I suggest doing the accelerator first, see how you feel, see if you're comfortable, and then move forward from that. Like I said, I can type in, let's see, I'll show you, I don't want to use that one. Right here, I just literally typed in FME, how to get started with CSV. I don't have to have a subscription or any support with FME. This is free. I can just find this, how to get started with a CSV. And then it literally will walk you through how to use this tool, how to add things to it. So FME, I think, has done a great job with training and just putting material out there for you as the user to quickly just get on the ground and run. So let's see here. And I just wanted to show you a few examples that we can hit the wrong button. A few examples, right? So I'm going to show you today the CSV to file geodatabase in the demonstration. It's very basic, very easy. I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like and how it works. But I know there's a lot of interest, at least at WisDOT, with CAD files, DWGs to file geodatabase or enterprise geodatabase. We currently actually have several REST endpoints that we're targeting for different projects that automatically, with FME, it automates that information, parses the data, and then goes straight into ArcGIS Online. And then, like I said earlier, we do a lot of different databases to different databases, and manipulating and looking up those lookup tables or related tables, right? And trying to get that information instead of just like an integer that's a 1. What does that mean? Well, I can just plug a table in there or a lookup table, and then I know where that 1 and 2 are. And once you have one set up, it kind of creates a template for you, honestly. So you can move fairly quickly within, if you have multiple environments, or you're trying to do the same thing, more than once, right? You have it created, you just literally just change the source to the target. So, before I get to the demo, is there any questions? No? And again, before I get to the demo, I want to do another shout out to the WisDOT team. Thank you for everything. And then the fact that we have this is the whole team. I'm just the poor sap that gets to play with it a lot. So, like most things, there's multiple ways to do this, right? So just because I'm showing you this way, as in I have a CSV, I'm going to create my vertex, which is my X and Y's from that CSV. I have an attribute manager, which is a transformer, and then I have the target, which is the file geodatabase that you see up here. There are so many different ways in this software to do one thing. So, which I guess could add to some confusion, but my point is it's so intuitive and easy. It's not just my logic. It could be your logic or your logic that actually goes, oh, okay, I get it, if that makes any sense, right? And I know Python's similar if anybody ever codes, or JavaScript, or any coding. But like I said, this is quite intuitive, and there's different ways to do one thing. So, okay, so this is what FME Form looks like, which is on your desktop, okay? And currently I have this little CSV file that I added to this machine, and this is considered right here, a reader. So you have your readers, your writer, which is your target typically, and then your transformer. Okay, so your transformer is the fun tools, like I'm sure everybody here uses ArcGIS Pro, right? It's kind of like almost like a geoprocessing tool, basically. Transformers are built in, but you can also possibly download some, which here, I'll just go here. There's a huge long list. But here, for instance, you see that little download symbol right there? Yeah, that is where I can download, right? So now that can cause some issues for some places because your firewall may be blocking it. You might have to get with IT or your network IT team to have that open. But there are so many tools or transformers. There's actually some that are not even on this list. I actually had to update my ArcGIS Online transformer, I would say about 2 months ago, and I actually went to their website and they had it there and I just downloaded it. So it may not actually be on your transformer. So yes, so this is the CSV reader, and then I'm just going to show you. So all I did is hit this little reader, and then these are things that I've actually selected, but I'm just going to show you the more formats real quick. So there, you can see there's tons of formats that this reads out of, out of the box. And then say you're trying to find, like I have CSV, you can see there's multiple different types of readers for CSVs. I just use the comma separated value, right? And then I have a little data set, and this is my CSV. So I just open, I hit OK, and see if it's successful. Did it actually take, oh, there it is, yes, perfect. So literally this is the same thing, but you saw what I just did, right? I just literally selected reader, and then I looked for the CSV, and there it is. I mean, it's quite easy, like I said, very intuitive, very ArcGIS Pro model builder-esque. But what's really nice, some of this about the software, is I'm just going to run it real quick. All right, so I'm going to run it. So you saw how I just ran it right here. So run just this, or I can run from this, can run the whole environment. And then down here, you can see it gives you warnings or information it was successful. Then I hit this little eyeball. And then as you can see, this is that CSV file on the bottom that it's reading. And you can see I have my latitude and longitudes, orientation, location, installation, zone, and then a key. And that's automatically from that CSV. And then you can just imagine this as an API, for instance, because all it is a list, right? An array of lists. Or an enterprise geodatabase, same thing. I have connectors, and I connect to those things. and that's my source. And then for my source, then I need to figure out, do I need to manipulate something or add something or update something? And then I would do my writer, and that's where your target is. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. So here's the vertex creator that I did. So I'm going to go to transformer, vertex creator. And what the vertex creator does, and you can see how it has a little, I'll show you, I went too fast. Right here, a little description. Appends coordinates to null point, text line, and geometry, or replaces existing geometry and point geometry. This is what's going to give that CSV its geometry, right, or its geography. So we can just go here and then here, and you can see I have a list of attributes. I can literally type them as well, but it's a lot easier because it already sees it, right? As soon as I make a connection, the transformer or the source or the writer, right, or reader knows that, hey, I have this connected. And I do want to mention something. I'll pause for a second when we're talking about resources. FME, if you get very large files, they are quite resource heavy, as in, I wouldn't say necessarily CPU, but memory and storage. Every time I'm doing this, it's actually creating a storage file on your hard drive or hard disk drive, and and then it also uses a decent amount of RAM. So this this laptop uses 32 gigabytes. This is what I have. I actually have a VM as well that I utilize that also has 32 gigabytes. But it's fine unless you have a very large data set that you're pulling in. And an example is, I would say a couple months ago, we had something that was, 2 million and X, 2.5 million. That took a lot of resources, and that was RAM mostly and storage. And then obviously CPU helps with that. But with something small like this, you could just use like a 16 gig with 4 core. It's not that big of a deal. So. But back to this, we're back to our vertex creator. So this is connecting to our reader or the source, and then I'm just gonna put in the Y, and then attribute value, latitude, hit OK. And then I'm just gonna quickly run this, right? So, and you can see right here, see on the your bottom right, my left, is you can see that it actually built that geometry. It kind of gives you an example of the geometry that it just built. And then from here, I could have an attribute manager, which I'm not going to do that one because I'm going to run out of time. I wanted to show you a little bit more about Flow. But I'm just going to double click it. And right here, I just opened up this transformer and its attribute manager. And then I changed the name from its installation, as you can see, to with year. And then when I run that, so it's taking the reader to the transformer that's creating the geometry, to this transformer that's changing my attribute. And you can see right here, installation year, because I wanted the year on it instead of just installation. And then you could do conditions in here, as in, say for instance, you're like, oh, I only want to see 2009 in one field, so I want this field to state this. You can do a condition also in Attribute Manager, which is quite easy. You just go here, and then you have this little conditioner value. Right, so I'm not going to do that because I've run out of time, but I just wanted to let you know that that is available. And then at the end of this is my reader, or writer, excuse me. So you have your writer, and then all I did is add, you could do shapefile, another CSV, file geodatabase, and then if you don't have it listed, you can, like I said, search for it. So let's say I wanted to do a file geodatabase. So you can see right here, and then you have your data set. I'm gonna hit OK. And then So this would be a point, right? So it's going to ask me what would you like to do. And then you would name the feature class here if it's new. Now we could just overwrite something if there's one that's already there as well. But as this one, as you can see, I've already created it, and this is doing the same thing. GODB point, insert, and I'm actually having it truncate that feature. And the feature's name is demo, which is right there. Okay, so that being said, say I want to publish this. I would to Flow because I want it to be automated. And we'll see if it works. But I also want somebody to take a CSV that I'm going to say, hey, here's an app for you. This will update from your CSV to a geodatabase. And here's your application. I'm going to show you that in 1 second. But first, I would just go to Publish. And then this is how you would publish it straight to Flow. And you can see the demo. That's what my FMW file is. When you save it, that's what it creates is an FMW. You can actually share those files as well, and I could pull one in. Just my connections would be a little off, so I just have to recreate those connections. So you do next, and I don't really want to replace the one I have because I don't want anything to break. So let's go to Flow real quick. So quickly, this is FME Flow, and then I published it, if you recall, and then it's going to go into my workspace. So again, like I said earlier, you have your workbench, which is in your FME form, and then you have your workspace, which is in FME Flow. Pretty much it's the same thing. It's that FMW file. You can download it. You can look at it here, and you can run it. You can create an automation right here. So there's like little model builder-esque again, where you can make it manual trigger, or I can go here and make it automated. You could do a schedule. Oh, I'm running out of time, aren't I? Yeah, so you have different ways, messaging, Dropbox, so many different things. You can, within here, you can also do like emailing. But I did want to show everybody this fun piece that I was talking about earlier. Oh, manage workspace before we adjourn. All right, so this is an app that I built that what it does is it allows me to take a CSV and then I can, and you can give this permissions to pretty much anybody in your, at your place of employment, right? So you create these little groups, or you can have it completely within the network or public. But for instance, you can create groups that say, for instance, in the DOT we have DTSD. Well, only DTSD or this certain group can actually do this, and they can upload the CSV and then have it run ad hoc. And then in this case, it's just a file geodatabase. But imagine you can do it right on an Oracle database or enterprise geodatabase. Let's see if it actually runs before I go. I'll just show you, maybe. Oop. Right, so there it is. And then the file geodatabase I have is just static, as in it's not dynamic, as you see. And then it's going to say running, and this is what the user would see. Of course, we're at a demo, so it failed. But just imagine it saying success. And trust me, this worked great before this. So, but you would have success, and you could also have this set to an automation. And what's great about that is I can have, for instance, what I showed you earlier, I can have it set up an email in that automation, or I can have it go to Dropbox, right? So there are so many different things that you can do with this flow tool and the form aspect. But that's pretty, I think I'm out of time. But I guess any questions at all, or before I turn off?
It does work. I get a lot of success emails.
He does. He loves them. So this is my email address. So you're more than welcome to email me, and I'll forward them all to Bill, and he will answer you as soon as possible. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.